another early morning walk talk. I've come to the realization that colonialism, I'm not talking about slavery here, I'm talking about colonialism, was never, well, I think the objective, that's the word I'm looking for, the objective of colonialism was to essentially get indigenous people of the world to assimilate to European culture. And when I say assimilate European culture, it still goes on today under the guise of neoliberalism, neocolonialism. It happens still, but I think that how it was done, it wasn't so much assimilate into Western culture. That's one facet, but I think it was to actually integrate indigenous people of the world into the false reality that Westerners live in or have created somehow. Because if you go back in history or speak to people from like the older generations from different parts of the world, indigenous people, you notice one kind of like common theme. You know, indigenous people always lived very kind of like civil existences, and they were very civil. You know, they had, I mean, I can only relay my own experience. I can't talk about other people. I've spoken to older people from other parts of Africa, and they'll tell you that, you know, you go to the market and people will leave their wares out in the open. I've seen it myself, and go out for lunch or wherever. If somebody comes, they'll just leave the money there, take what they need and go. Or, you know, they'll give the money to somebody else. There was no such thing as theft. We never locked our doors, you know. But the more that we have now assimilated Western culture, the more we have crime, the more we have poverty, the more we have people more likely to steal, the more we have greed, avarice, and all these negative things. And yes, I'm saying Western culture is negative. Yes, I'm saying that. I'm saying that with absolute conviction. It's toxic. It's horrendous, actually. I'm talking about the culture. So yeah. Anyway, so they integrate people, indigenous people, into the game, and I think that's the ultimate plan. That was the plan. And once they realized that, okay, we've managed to kind of separate them along tribal lines, separate them along country lines, we've separated them along all these lines, now we can sort of like relax in the knowing that it's plug and play. They'll just carry on doing exactly what we have programmed them to do. That was the whole point of colonialism. Nothing more and nothing less. Like Africans, I mean, a lot of the new generation are, you know, waking up to stuff. But indigenous people of the world, like, I'm speaking to all of you. How many of you can say confidently that you wear your indigenous clothes every day? Westerners do. Westerners do. How many of you can say that you wear your hair in your traditional way in accordance to your indigenous people or your history? Westerners do every day. Okay? Everything that comes from your culture. How many of you speak your languages? How many of you have named your kids in accordance to your indigenous history, your roots? How many of you have done that? Westerners do. Do you mark birthdays, celebrations, births, deaths? Do you mark them the traditional way or the Western way? You've thrown away tradition, thrown away your history, because colonialism worked. You know, you've been assimilated, bro. Whether you want to admit it or not, you have been. Knowing is the first step, bro. We need to go back. We need to go back to our roots, man. Because you've been integrated into a false reality, a false game, where you've been convinced that you are less than, you're not adequate, you're not this, you're not that, you're not this, you're not that. Of course, if you, like that old proverb, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, you'd say it's stupid, right? But place that same fish in the water and it's a different conversation altogether. You're playing the wrong game. So even if you're playing this game and you excel, you are still playing the wrong game. Take off the shackles. Like, why was it so important for them to bring you certain concepts? I mean, we were already like we were living civilized lives, you know, even if we were naked like they like to portray us, bro. It's the tropics, it's hot, it's supposed to be fucking naked. Do you know what I mean? And we weren't perverse, we're naked, and that's normal because sex was not at the forefront of our minds. We weren't living ego. Sex is a functional thing, you know. It wasn't an everyday thing like in the world that we live in now, in this false matrix reality, bro. They gave you Bibles and churches. They don't even go to church. Open your eyes, guys.